Star Wars Outer Rim. This is a very sandboxy and highly thematic game set in the world of Star Wars. And it is a game in which you don't have to play the role of an emo farmer from a desert planet. You can be one of the coolest characters in the franchise. You can be a bounty hunter, you can be a smuggler, you can do whatever you want. You are on the side of scum and villainy, and that is absolutely awesome. I also like the fact that to win, the only victory condition is you gain fame, no matter what. Zero fudge given. I like that. It really captures the spirit of this entire class of interesting characters in Star Wars. So here in this game, players will play the role of some of the iconic, adorable mavericks in the franchise. You can be Lando, or Dr. Aphra, Boba, Bosk, Jyn Erso, Han Solo, and so on and so forth. You take the card of the character that you're going to play and you place it here next to your personal board that represents different things. Here in your personal board you have slots around which you will place cards representing upgrades such as gear that you acquire, jobs or bounties that you are trying to complete to score points. Here you have a display representing your standing, your diplomatic standing with four important parties: the Hutts, the Syndicate, the Imperials, and the Rebels. And you may be neutral, or they may think of you as neutral. You may be their enemy, or you may be their friend. Your reputation will always be in one of these three states here. Here you have a slot where you place your personal card. Your personal card will tell you about your ground combat capability, how many health points you have, your personal power, say Lando can reroll dice, a personal goal that when you complete it, you'll get certain bonuses, including, say here, fame, and you get to flip the card. And what do you get then? I don't want to spoil it for you. You also have setup instructions. For example, you're told to gain card 91 at the beginning of the game from the database. The database deck is that deck there. It has numbered cards. It is never shuffled. And think of this as an encounter deck, or also as an encounter paragraph booklet in deck format. From time to time, you'll be told draw card 43. You encounter a character and the character has the number 13 drawn, written next to them. Whenever you encounter a number, you simply draw the card and read it and do what it says. And again, it's such a thematic game. Part of the joy is to discover all the crazy things that can happen, the people that you may encounter, the crazy interactions that you may experience. So again, no spoilers there. Here we have the fame tracker. If you gain 10 fame points before everybody else does, you win the game. At least in the standard game, you can play to 8 for a shorter game and 12 for a longer epic game. Then you have your ship. Everybody starts with a starting ship, which is double-sided. You can choose to have one that is not super fast, but it's fairly resistant and good in combat, or one that is much more fragile, doesn't fight as much, but is faster. So you choose the side that you want to have. Also, you may start with a card. Say Lando starts with a card with number 91. I said a card because sometimes a number may have multiple cards associated with it, in which case you draw a card within that range, a card with a number. Lando starts with a 91, which tells us that it is a cargo that he can deliver on to Tatooine for a reward of 5,000 credits. You like money because, again, you ain't no hero. You are a smuggler or lovable rascal. So there is that. And you can see also around the ship you will have different slots, and later you may upgrade your ship. You may scuttle the old one and get a better one that will have better stats, better abilities, and also may have different and more slots. Other concepts, you have several decks here representing the market. The market has several decks. The card on top of the deck is always face up, so the people see what's available for purchase. You can always purchase a card when you're on a planet, no matter which one it is. I guess they have Amazon Prime. You're on a planet, you order it, and it just, wherever on the galaxy, they just deliver it next day. And the market is where you may acquire jobs that are pretty much self-explanatory. That's what you can do. More jobs or different things. Maybe you have the opportunity to steal Jabba's hidden stash. You may get upgrades, say weapons in this case. You may get cargo. You may improve your ship. And you may get other stuff like crew and contacts. To acquire a card, you need to spend the number of credits indicated there, and some cards may be for free if it's indeed jobs or bounties that you want to collect, you plan to collect later. Ships are very expensive, but again, you can trade in other old stuff in order to get a discount on expensive stuff. And then we have the board. The board is so, I love it. It's just, you put it together by placing together these tiles, and it gives you really that sense of the outer rim. I want to give you a sense of the entire play area. It's just nice. It feels very thematic. On top of the fact that if it was straight, it would be so much longer. And so, what you have on this board is a grid, is a point-to-point map, basically, to borrow a term from wargaming. A point-to-point in which your token, representing your position, will move. These yellow dots are navigation points, nav points, and then you have planets, of course. Each planet also has 2 slots where you will place face-down tiles representing the people that you may encounter there. And each planet has a range. So, for example, here there is a character of the white kind with a white frame, and for the colorblind we have dots, so 1 dot. And here there's another group which has a yellow frame and then, what is it, 3 dots? Yeah, 3 dots. So basically, as you can see, these 2 planets both have a white and a yellow. Other planets have different combinations of characters. Here we have 2 yellow. Here we have green and yellow up there, and so on and so forth. And those are characters that you may encounter later, and they will usually lead you to an encounter that is resolved on the corresponding data bank card. Also, each planet is related, is connected to an encounter card or an encounter deck. If you're on Tatooine or Nat Hutta and you're encountering the place, then you will draw a card and look at the section that corresponds to where you are and resolve it. If you're on a navigation point, you draw this one when you're encountering things. Now you have, I believe, the basics. We can start talking about a turn structure. Players alternate taking turns, and when it is your turn, first you have a planning step in which you will do one of the following things. You can move, and that's probably what you want to do most often, and you can move up to the movement allowance of your ship. There are also non-playing patrols representing, well, patrols from the different factions. As you move, again, you can move up to your full movement allowance by the number of spots. Say I have a 5, I go 1, 2. When I encounter a patrol, I have to stop unless I am in good standing, have a positive relationship with them. And suppose that I am a friend of the rebels, so I can just keep going. And that's pretty much it for movement. Alternately, you can choose, instead of moving, to gain 2,000 credits, as simple as that, or to recover all of your damage. As the game progresses, damage may be placed on your character card when you're physically wounded, or on your ship if you're taking damage in space combat. If you take the rest action, so to speak, you recover all damage. Also, it may be that you have been defeated in the previous turn, that is, either your ship has taken too much damage or you have taken too much damage, then you're mandated to recover and remove all damage. So, usually move, otherwise recover or gain money. Then you get to the action step, which is a little more flexible because you can do multiple actions here. You may deliver cargo or collect bounties if you meet the conditions. Say, for example, I am on Tatooine, and that's where the cargo I need to deliver, then I simply deliver it and ka-ching, I gain the reward. Other times, the deliveries may be a little more complicated. Maybe you're trying to smuggle some illegal goods and then you have to take some tests. Maybe you are trying to collect some weird bounties or to complete some different things. So you can deliver cargo and bounties during the action step. If you're on a planet, you can also go to the market. When you go to the market, you look at the available cards. You also get a chance of cycling one card. I don't really like this card. I hope I get something better. And then you take any one card from the market and you put it at the bottom and you reveal a new one. Oh, that's exactly what I wanted. What are the odds? So after if you decide to cycle a card, which you don't have to, you can buy a card, sometimes for free, sometimes you pay the money. If you pay, you place it wherever it needs to be. Say the mod will go in this section of my ship. And now I have +1 defense. Also during ship combat, if I have tactics, my opponent rolls one fewer die. We'll talk about those things later. When I buy a card and I reveal a new one, it may have an icon such as this one, which indicates automatic movement of the patrols. And so if I bought that card and I revealed this one after buying a card, now I will have to move the Rebel Patrol by 4 spaces or up to 4 spaces towards me, towards the active player. But I'm already there. I'm already there with my chums, so they don't need to move. Oh, actually, no, they're on the navigation point, so they just come and see me on Tatooine so that we can drink a glass of blue milk together. So that is for the market, which may lead to automatic movement of the patrols. Also, if I'm in a location with another player, I may trade cards with them. That's for the action step. Remember, complete bounties and deliver cargo, possibly do the market action, possibly trade cards. Finally, we get to the encounter step, which is where a lot of interesting stuff may happen. During the encounter step, you may encounter the place, so you draw a card for the corresponding place and you read it. Maybe a navigation point, maybe a planet. You may encounter a character. Again, if it's a character that is face down, you flip it face up. There may be a data bank card associated and you see what happens. I don't want to give you spoilers, but that's to give you a sense that's where you may get other jobs. If you encounter Leia Organa, maybe she has a possible mission that she would like you to complete. Or maybe you encounter somebody that you can hire to your crew, maybe somebody really big and hairy, or maybe somebody that belongs to some other weird species. Also, maybe you hire somebody as a member of your crew, and later you hear that there is a bounty on them, and then, alas, you will have to sever their working relationship with you a little earlier than maybe they wanted. Again, I have to stress the amorality of the system. You may become a hero of the rebellion just by freeing prisoners from the imperial prisons, all sorts of things like that. You may still damage the bad guys by, say, stealing stuff from Jabba the Hutt. But you may also choose to go after this guy for money. And actually, after you defeat him, if you defeat him, he's pretty tough in ground combat, you can choose to eliminate him. Yes, that is exactly what you think it is. You eliminate Chewbacca, which gives you an immediate advantage and some fame, or capture, which is you don't kill him, but you deliver it to a specific location and then you get a higher reward. Pretty much when you capture people, when you defeat people in combat and there's a bounty on them, you can choose to eliminate them or to deliver them. So that's pretty disturbing, but again, you are part of the scum and villainy and you should be able to do some of the bad stuff if you so desire. But we're in the encounter step. Remember, you can encounter a character, you can encounter a card. If you are in a patrol space with somebody that doesn't like you, with somebody that you're in bad standing with, then actually during encounter phase, you have to fight them. You have to fight a combat with them and say, the Imperials don't like me very much, now I have to fight. Combat. The way it works is you will, or an opponent will roll dice for the enemy that is fighting against you. So here, for example, if I am in ship combat with them, the enemy will roll 3 dice, and my ship, this is my ship, will also roll 3 dice. The dice are these dice that you may be familiar with from other Star Wars games. They have eyeballs, so they have normal explosions, and then they have critical explosions. In combat, it's pretty simple. Each side rolls their dice, say this is the Imperials and this is me, and then we look at the number of successes after we apply all possible modifiers. And say here they inflict 2 points of damage, because that's normal hits, and I inflict 5 points of damage on them, because each critical is 2. So we inflict damages on each other. I take the amount of damage that they inflict me and I put it on my ship, and then we see the side that inflicted the most damage wins. In case of a tie, the attacker wins, and you resolve the effects that the card will tell you in case of a victory or a loss. The ground combat is exactly the same, but you use this factor here to see how many dice you roll, and you use the ground combat of the opponent to see how many dice the opponent rolls. And the thing is that during the game, often you will need to test things. As you can see, you have some keywords here. Say Lando starts with influence, knowledge, and piloting. Later I may acquire crew that gives me other things. So if this is part of my crew, I also have stealth now. I may also be able to have multiple of the same. So for example, if this nice character here is in my crew, now my total influence is of 2. When I'm told to take a test, I'll be told the category that I need to test, say test influence, alright, and you count how many keywords you have. You can still take a test even if you have 0 keywords, but the idea is every time you test, you roll 2 dice. If you don't have a keyword in the category that you're testing, then you need to roll at least a critical success. If you have 1 instance of the keyword, in order to succeed, you need a critical or a regular success. If you have more than 1 instance of the keyword, again, my crew has 2 influence and I'm testing influence, then anything but a blank is a success. So I just can roll at least 1 critical, 1 normal, or 1 eyeball. And again, the card will tell you what happens if you succeed or you fail. And this is pretty much the general idea. You move your ship at the beginning of your turn, or do other things. You deliver cargo and bounties, possibly go to the market, buying upgrades. You face encounters with characters, with planets, with patrols, and well, you continue like this. You continue like this until a player has acquired the necessary amount of fame, that is victory points, and at that point, the player is the winner of the game. One of the greatest innovations in 21st century game design to me is how games have learned to tell stories and how games have learned to engage with their theme at a deep, meaningful way, resulting in truly vivid representations of the theme. Back in the day, if you loved Star Wars and you wanted to be in the universe of Star Wars, you would buy a game, but unfortunately, yes, had Star Wars art, but probably at the end of the day was a roll and move, a magnified version of Chutes and Ladders with stills from the movies. These days we have games that are highly thematic and they really are immersive. You really are there. Outer Rim is one such game that embraces this change in design philosophy and does it so well. It really is a gateway to a parallel universe. It teleports you there magically. Yes, now you are there in the galaxy, on the Outer Rim, in no man's land, and you are this perfectly, delightfully amoral individual that can go either way. You can be the lovable rascal that, yes, likes to smuggle things and break the law and break rules, but ultimately you have your own sense of honor, and so you're gonna help the right side and the good guys. On the other hand, you can just be a ruthless bounty hunter and just go out and hunt whoever you want and just betray whoever you want. I love the sandboxiness of the game, not just in terms of the actions that you can perform. You can rob somebody, you can steal money, you can do all sorts of perfectly legal pick-up and delivery operations. but in a certain sense also the sandboxiness of the moral element, the diplomatic element. How many people you can annoy, how many people you can be nice to, how many people can like you or hate you, and how you can switch around depending on your actions. Yes, there are a lot of games in which there are thematic games in which you're the hero, and so there is thematic variety. I can kill a troll, or I can kill a dragon, or I can kill the assassin, or I can kill that evil villain. But not so many in which you can really shape your destiny with such a huge variety of situations, and I would say moral implications, which also means narrative possibilities. A game in which you can really go more towards the dark side or the bright side while still remaining well on this side of the Force. I would almost say, yeah, the Force is really a metaphor for our common life, because here you can do all sorts of dark things or light side of the Force things without ever being concerned with the Force, by simply helping the Rebels now and the Imperials next, and realize that you like the Imperials better, but only for a while, and then you realize that the Hutts are kind of disgusting, but maybe useful for your purposes. The complete openness of the narrative system to me is great. And you may have noticed I've been ranting about how good the game is for a while without even engaging with the mechanics at all, by simply telling you about the kind of thematic experience that it gives you, because to me this is the strength of the game. It almost feels like a role-playing game without a human game master, a role-playing game in which all of the reactions of the world, of the fictional world, have been hardwired in the components. It's a game that is fun to play. Yes, the mechanics, I forgot about those. They're great. They work. What do? They give you the possibility of exploring all of these thematic situations. Maybe there is a turn where you're kind of like, quote unquote, skipping your turn because you're resting, you're collecting credits, just you need that little bit of extra credit to buy something, or you're recovering from damage, but the game is pretty quick. And frankly, there's so much going on that just looking at the crazy things that happen to my friends as they're taking their turns, that's fun enough. It may just be one of those games that can just be fun, just looking at, just watching other people play, which is rare. In that sense, almost reminded me of Tales of the Arabian Nights, another intensely narrative game that sometimes you just watch people playing and you enjoy the stories, and those are fun. But this game, compared to that one, has less luck. Yes, it has more strategy. Yes, good gameplay and good decisions do pay off. Back to the mechanics, chaining off things and doing several services on a single trip. I deliver something on my way to engage with the Imperial Patrol, so the Rebels like me, and then I go and do a mission with the Rebels that gives me more fame points because I chain things in that order, I sequence things in that order. Yes, it is a game that has less randomness and more incentive towards good gameplay than you have in other thematic games, and yet it remains a true sandbox. It remains a true engine to tell stories set in a fantastic universe, and you're put in a very refreshing, very new, very original and rewarding position, that of a lovable outlaw that doesn't care about anything and anybody, doesn't have to worry about the bigger picture. It's about today, it's about accomplishing that mission, looking cool and getting out of there. So good stuff. Star Wars Outer Rim, I loved it. A true achievement in story-oriented gaming.